Hello, welcome to the Elevate Your Wellbeing podcast. It is episode 25 and it's new moon. It is Friday, the 19th of May, as this episode goes live, and we have a glorious, glorious new moon in the sign of Taurus. And I am going to be chatting with you today in the most beautiful way possible. I would like to highlight the sweetness of doing nothing. So, if this is completely new to you, the sweetness of doing nothing, do let me know. I would love to know what your thoughts are on doing nothing. Do you love this? Is this your zone of genius, or do you struggle? Do you go a million miles an hour and you find it hard to slow down? So both are really normal, and it's just trying to find that balance. And I highlighted this particular practice in my Rise and Shine Wellbeing, and it felt really nice because I actually wrapped up a whole year of running this membership and have decided I want to take it in a slightly different way. And I'm going to be announcing that very, very soon. But in the meantime, I thought this is a beautiful way to wrap it up. And this is a fika. It's the Swedish word fika, which is about slowing down, the Swedish method of slowing down. And I love the saying, the sweetness of doing nothing. It's that dolce far niente in Italian. And there are six ways that you can really focus on doing this. And it's the art of slowing down. And this is where new moon comes in particular. And the sign of Taurus. Taurus is the first earth sign. It's all about being slow, grounding, there's a stabilizer, a stability there. And I always joke, but in the most loving way, because I really do feel this sums it up, at least it does for me. When I think about the sign of Taurus, I really think about a toddler. So a child around 2 years old, they know themselves until we really have it pushed out of us by society, unless we are that strong-willed that we keep it. I really view Taurus as that toddler. You know, they have that art of saying no if they don't want to do something. They know that's not what they want to do. They don't always know what they do want to do, but they can say no very easily. And they take their time. They really will take their time. If it's going to take them a few moments or longer to get dressed, or they insist on doing something themselves, like, I'm going to put my shoe on, but I don't really know how to tie my shoe, but I'm still going to try it. It's about slowing down. They're taking their time and being present and doing the thing. And as we grow up, we've been made to really focus on this rushing around, which is what I was talking about on the podcast last week. We're really made to think that we need to rush, this hustle culture, that we need to be go, 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 go. And we can feel quite frustrated when we're in that element of the toddler, or in the element of Taurus, or in the sign of Taurus, or in the season, that element of the new moon, of slowing down. But this is that art of the fika, of really being present in the moment. And I love this. It's something I practice like every other week. There's a group I meet up with and we go and have brunch. And as I'm recording this, the last one we did, we were at brunch for 3 hours, which felt really indulgent, and it probably sounds really indulgent. And I love it. I love that I have the ability to do that. And it really felt absolutely beautiful to really be present, chatting with these amazing, empowering women, and just really being present. So as we dive into this week's episode, hopefully you are somewhere nice and comfy, that you can be really present as we have this chat, we have this conversation. And I'd love to hear your side of it as well. Do share this on social media. All the details are in the show notes, but as a reminder, at I am Rachael_UK is my Instagram handle. My email address is in there as well. You know, do get in touch. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all these topics that we go into together on the podcast. Hopefully you have got your journal, because you're going to get a journal prompt at the end. But you might even be taking some notes. You have some water, and you're somewhere where you're getting natural light. So 6 ways that you can practice the art of slowing down. And 2 of these are really very much that element of the fika, that method of being present. And if you don't know what that is, yeah, I will go into it a little bit more as we get there. But first one is turn off your phone. Switch your phone off. Now, if that makes you feel jittery, if that doesn't make you feel relaxed, put it on airplane mode, put it on silence, put it away. If I have my phone out on the table, I will always turn my phone upside down so the screen is facing down. So if I do have any notifications coming up, I can't see that they're happening. The only thing I don't like with the silence mode is you usually still get like that buzz, that vibration through the phone, so you know something's happened. So I think airplane mode or the do not disturb mode can be really handy. Something I've been doing recently is I know on my phone, I've got just an iPhone, and I can go into the do not disturb option, but I can choose which one I have. So I just have a general do not disturb, but I could have one for work, I can have one for sleep and a personal time as well. So I can actually go in and set what apps I do not want to get notifications from in that personal time or in that work time. So that can be really handy if you get very distracted by your phone. If you have that attachment to your phone, have a play around with the settings so you can see how you can switch off those notifications if it is a distraction for you, and then put it to one side. So you've got your first one, turn your phone off, or at least use airplane mode, silent mode, do not disturb mode, whatever works for you. And then the second one is notice your breath, notice your breathing. And we touched a little bit on this last week when I was saying about how you can switch on your awareness, that observation. And being aware of your breath really, really helps. It's the one way to be really present in your body, because that's a constant that you can really be aware of, is that flow of the breath. And you'll usually notice that if you've gone from go, 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 you're rushing around and you've not been noticing your breath. When you do stop to notice the breath, it's usually quite short and sharp and rapid. And as you bring your awareness to the breath, it slows down. And you then feel more calm. That just feels very nice just to take a nice big exhale, a nice big sigh at that moment. So you noticing the breath, really beautiful practice to help you to slow down. Third one is practice silence and stillness. Practice silence and stillness. So I actually break these 2 down into their own elements. So you could do both in a meditation, but maybe one is easier than the other. So you might find you can be still, but you need some noise. So work with what feels good for you. So you might be able to move into a meditation, but you need that sound of some calm music or being guided. Maybe you're the other way around. So you might be a bit more of a fidget like I am. And I like a form of movement meditation a lot of the time. So I like to go out for a walk and I won't have any music on. I won't go out with my headphones or anything like that. I will be present with, I guess you could say technically that's not silent because there are sounds outside, but it really helps me to slow down because I can be really present with what's the sound I can hear as I'm going for my daily walk. So I'm not using sound as a distraction. I'm not there talking to someone else. Unless I walk past a neighbour and we acknowledge each other and say hello, or maybe stop and have a chat. But it's very different. Sort of reflecting back for me, thinking of when I worked at, like, say, a 9 to 5, and I'd go into the office canteen, and it's so noisy. There's just constant noise, 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 noise. So practicing silence and stillness for the art of meditation is a really good way of slowing down, but that can take practice in itself. You might find you can be still, but you need a bit of sound, or you can work with that element of silence, but you need a bit of movement. So work with what feels good for you. So your fourth one is do one thing at a time. And I chatted about this on the podcast fairly recently. Let me have a quick look back. The foot method, which was episode 20. So around the 14th of April. So about a month or so ago, the foot method, focus on one thing. Do one thing at a time. And this is a really good way of slowing down. Now, this one was hard for me to do because I was like, but I can multitask and I get multiple things done. But you can't really go slow in your multitasking. Whereas if you're focusing on one thing, the art to this is if you've got a massively long to-do list, highlight your top 3 priorities. What are the 3 key things that need to be done, and do just those. Do the one that's a really important one, and then move on to the next one. And then if you have time, do the next one, and everything else can wait, or it can be delegated. And really allow yourself the art of focusing on just doing one thing. So you're really present in the moment. This allows you to slow down. You can be very specific, very dedicated to what you're doing. So turning off your phone, noticing your breath, meditating, so practicing silence and stillness, doing one thing at a time, so focus on one thing, are your 4 ways of slowing down. Being present, that sweetness of doing nothing. But the true fika is savoring your drink, savoring your beverage. This is usually a tea or a coffee. So you can go out for coffee. As I already mentioned, you might have already guessed this when I said about going out for brunch. So really being present, savoring your tea and coffee. And this can be something that you can do on your own and really allow yourself. I know I've got a client who, and I will call her out. So I know my client Jane, if you're listening, hello. I love the story of that time of that first cup of coffee is mine. And it's setting that boundary with the family that this is my time. This is my self-care. And it can be really that simple. So it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be fancy. But you're like, I'm going to have this particular coffee and I'm going to make it this particular way. And you have this beautiful little routine ritual that is yours. And it's like, this is my time. And then I can ease into my day. Then I can switch on the mum mode or wife mode or boss mode or whatever it is. But you've just given yourself that time to really be present and savor that first cup of coffee, that first cup of tea. And you can also have like a tea ceremony, can be really beautiful as well. I'm planning on doing this on the Glastonbury retreat, which I'm excited about, is having that tea ceremony. So you can really be present. You're aware, that mindfulness of, you can hold the cup and feel the warmth from the cup. You can smell the aroma, you can taste it. And that is a really beautiful part of the fika. And then the other part is, a fika is typically or traditionally social. So alongside your tea or coffee, as I've already said, there's brunch, you have something sweet. So we tend to always go for pancake, or some people will actually order a sweet, or something like a croissant, that typical sort of brunchy breakfast, like sweet, like something to eat. So it's enjoying that little sweet treat, but it's being present and being mindful is the last one. So turn off your phone, notice your breath, practice silence and stillness, do one thing at a time, focus on one thing. Savor your drink, savor that tea, savor that coffee. And then if you're doing this, you can add this in again on your own, but if you're doing this in a group, that tradition of the fika is to have something sweet to eat. And you're being really present and mindful with it. So again, you're really savoring whatever it is you're eating, but you're being really present and mindful with the people you're with. Really taking in the conversation. And like I said, the one, as I'm recording this, the one that I went to at the weekend just gone, we were there for 3 hours and it was really lovely. Just to, like I said, it felt indulgent, but in such a beautiful way. And that is the essence of Taurus as well. It's that art, that indulgence of that self-care, that luxury of taking that time and being present. So Your prompt is quite literally with your journal, how can you slow down? On this new moon, how can you slow down and do one, at least one, pick one. If you feel quite overwhelmed with this list of, oh, could I do this? You can see how some of these can move into, turn off your phone obviously is one thing, but noticing your breath, practicing silence and stillness, being present and mindful, those three can blend in together. Turning off your phone as you save your tea and coffee could blend in together. And, it's so you might find that you actually practice like a multitude of these, or you might just pick one and that's the one you're going to do. So your prompt is quite simply, how can you slow down more? How can you be present more? How can you enjoy that sweetness of doing nothing? And if you know where that's come from, that particular line, do let me know. Tag me if you're listening to this, or and you use social media. Do tag me, share it in your stories, or share it on your feed on Instagram. Do share if that is something you know about, or something you're aware of, or if you're not sure and you want to know, send me a DM and I'll share where that lovely line's come from. So thank you for joining me for this week's podcast. If you have got any questions, if there are any topics that you would like me to go into, please do reach out. All the details are in the show notes. If I have mentioned a topic on a previous episode and I have not yet done it, do let me know. If you're like, oh, that sounds really interesting and you can't see it on other ones that have been published, do let me know. Also to highlight, and a big shout out to those of you that have paid to become a paid subscriber. Thank you very much. It means the world to me. And you can get more episodes. So rather than once a week, which I love doing, you can listen to me. We can have this conversation twice a week, but in a more in-depth way. So on the paid subscription, you will get a monthly yoga nidra meditation practice. There is the Astro Self-Care series. You will also be getting recordings of masterclasses, and that's the only place those masterclasses will go. And then I will be sharing some extra tools and tips with you that I would only share if you were a one-on-one client. So if you wish to become a paid subscriber, thank you very much. It means the world to me. It's only £7.99 a month, so £2 a week, or just under £2 a week for an additional episode with me every single week. And you can do that. The details are in the show notes. If you would like to be a one-on-one coaching client, how you can do that is in the show notes as well. And we can really dive into how you can create these self-care practices that I am discussing with you every single week. If there are goals that you're wanting to work on, or whatever it is around your well-being, I can really help you with that. And I don't share it as much on here, but I do business as well. So I will be sharing you some more business sides as well, especially with how you can get your chill on and still work with your business. So enjoy slowing down, and I look forward to seeing you and having this chat with you next week.